What's going on, everyone? This is Stephen Place, the lead analyst at Insider Report, and today we're going to look at a select group of insiders that not only have key information about their companies, but they are very sophisticated with the kinds of trades they make and what they're looking at in particular. So if you think about an insider for a biotech stock, we don't know exactly why they're picking up shares, but we have a good idea that, maybe they're looking for a FDA trial, a phase 1B trial, or something along those lines. If you see like general counsel, so the legal team, if they go buy a bunch of shares, there might possibly be an acquisition just around the corner. So these folks have a key insight into their companies, and they know the levels at which they would love to buy the stock because of upcoming catalysts and things along those lines. Yet there's a select few insiders with respect to bank stocks, and not big banks like Goldman or JP Morgan. These are regional banks that you've probably never heard of unless you see those companies where you live, right? A regional bank stock is not a national bank stock. They're normally in a certain area like Virginia or Pennsylvania or the Northwest, things along those lines. Those names are often tied to other things besides the direct fundamentals of the company. Things like the yield curve that directly affect the profitability of these banks and the profit margin of these banks. So when we have insiders picking up shares, yes, they completely understand their company, but they also know that their profit, the company's profit, is going to be tied directly back into the bond market. So these these are not CEOs of biotech companies that only know their drug. These are going to be CFOs and CEOs of bank stocks where they're effectively financial engineers, and they have to know the bond market backwards and forwards. If you haven't been paying attention over the past few weeks, the bond market is absolutely in the news. We've got debt ceiling stuff. We've got yields absolutely spiking. The bond market's getting crushed. And what we found was a couple insiders that were ahead of the curve. Get it? Yield curve, right? That were ahead of the curve purchasing their stock into this. So I want to show you a previous example. This is from a couple years ago, and this is in a little obscure bank stock called Lakeland Financial. And you can see it's traded between a range of 24 and 32. It has a nice little dividend attached to it as well. And if I were to show you this stock and you say, okay, where would be the absolute best times to buy this stock just looking at it? And you say, oh, obviously right at these lows, if I were a perfect trader, where would I get into this stock? Now, there's a CFO for this company named Lisa O'Neill. She made 7 trades between 2014 and 2016. I want to show you exactly where she purchased those shares. Now, 2 of them you can't see because my head's in the way and it's cutting off, but there were some perfect buys back in May and August of 2014. And basically, anytime this stock took a dump, Lisa was in there buying shares. She has a perfect trading track record on these. Lakeland is going to be tied to the bond market. All right, that is how their company makes money. All right, regional banks operate on the 363 model, where you borrow from savings accounts at 3%, you lend at mortgages at 6%, and then you get on the golf course by 3%. Right? That's the basic idea of how these operate. So they are very savvy and sophisticated investors. They are financial engineers. They know how the bond market is going to operate. So I want to show you a name that's currently in our Insider Report portfolio where they picked up, it was a cluster buy. Several insiders purchased $500,000 of the share back on May 5th. And let me see if I can pull up a pen really quick. We'll go here. We'll do ink color yellow. Is that yellow or orange? We'll find out. So they picked it up right here. And then into this rally, they were up 26%. Now, the stock went sideways for a while. It didn't do a whole lot, and it had nothing to do with the performance of this individual stock on its own. It was just that regional banks were a little bit weak. They were a little bit soft. Why? Because the bond market was rallying. We were seeing yields drop, which means the bond market is going up. You have to think upside down when you consider bonds and rates and all those other things. So what happened here was that this started to sell off a little bit. And then right into pretty much the same level, you had another 250,000 buy of several insiders into the stock. And just like that, it shot straight up. Why? Because yields, if you go look at the 10-year note right now, it's a complete dump right now. My daughter just showed up from school. Hi, Ari. Where's the dog? I don't know. So you should go find him. He's around here somewhere. If you make a lot of noise, he'll come find you. Back to our regularly scheduled program. So the 10-year drops, regional banks rally, they drop $250,000 into the stock. They are very sophisticated traders. And basically the day after they bought, the whole regional bank complex rallied. All right, very strong moves. This is a name that I do believe you should pay attention to. This is, in my opinion, on the cusp of another move higher. And if rates continue to rise and if the yield curve continues to improve for banks, it absolutely will continue to break out to new 52-week highs. If you'd like to see this stock in our portfolio at Insider Report and you'd like to see how we approach our trading at Insider Report, I'd like you to go underneath this video. There's going to be a registration link for a free class that we put on showing you why we look at these names. These are the best traders you've never heard of. We go through the 3 primary screeners that you should look at as well. And then you can sign up so you can get full access to our portfolio. We've got a lot of names that are just on the cusps of catalysts, bank stocks, biotech stocks, and a handful of retail names as well that I think are looking really nice for a move. So register now. Below that video, you'll get access to our full portfolio. You can see this stock as well as what insiders were buying, when they were buying, and how you can take advantage of it. That's all I got for today. Take care.